Hello, Maurieo! Maurieo reviews Engineering Math Quiz 6. Hello! Well, we're going to have a look at Maths Quiz 6 on trigonometrical graphs. Trig graphs, easier to say. So, let's just go and have a look at the what we've got, and see where we can find it. So I'm going to go to the large screen here and go to the quiz, and this is the model answers. Let's see if we can got to find my calculator here. Having a bit of trouble finding it. Here it is here. Should start to bring it over onto the second screen now, just so we've got it there in case we need it. So there we go. Right, convert 60 degrees to radians and express your answer as a decimal number. Well, we know that a full circle, the full 360 degrees of the circle, is 2 pi radians, and half a circle is pi radians. So if we want to convert something to radians, 60 degrees, 60 out of 180 degrees, that would give us what fraction of half a circle would be, and we multiply that by pi, and that'll give it to us in radians. So 60 over 180 pi. Now 60 goes into 183 times, so that's 1/3. So that's pi by 3, and then on our calculator, just simply shift pi divided by 3 equals, I think we've got to push that button there, 1.047197551, or what I've got there, or something like that. So yeah, pretty simple. And the pi by 3 we've already done earlier, but I'll show you how to do it here. So that's the first one out of the way. Right, now the graph shown there, we might need to get a bit smaller here just to get it all fitting in. The graph shown there is y equals 2x plus y equals 2 sine 3x plus 1. And we're looking at it here. It's a sine graph. And we've got to find the coordinates of A, B, and C. Now, first of all, we know with coordinates that they have an x value and a y value. So there's 2 values to find. We need to find the value on the x-axis and the value on the y-axis. Okay, and what I've done down here also, which might be a little bit helpful, is I've drawn the sine graph like so over 2 pi, over a range of 2 pi. So there's 0, pi by 2, or 90 degrees in the first quadrant. Second quadrant, it's positive there, and it's negative in the second and third quadrants. So that's the graph y equals sine x. Now, okay, the easiest one to find is A, because that's on the y-axis, and that occurs when x equals 0. So that's pretty simple. We just say when x equals 0, y equals 2 sine 3 by 0, and just put 0 for x, plus 1. And that equals 2 sine 1. And remember that we're working in radians, so don't forget to set your calculators in radians. And we just go sine 1 equals, and now we might not be in radians here, so let's just check. Mode, shift mode, so all clear. Shift mode, and we make sure we're in radians, which is 4. Okay, all right, so always make sure. Now this one here, it's a bit hard to see which one you're in on this little emulator here, but on your calculator it should be right. Now let's go sine 1 equals 0.841, and then we're going to multiply that by times 2 equals, and we get 1.6829419. 1.682, yeah, 197. So that's the y value. That's what y is. Remember that x was 0. So the coordinate that you must show is a equals, and you can round that to whatever you like. So that's a done. Now b is when it's on here, and it's when y equals 0. So that means we've got 2 sine 3x plus 1 equals 0. So what I've done there is, it's a bit of a long way. Some people can see past this, but I'm just going to deal with the sine. So I've let 3x plus 1 equal u. I don't know why I chose u. It's just a common one that we use in this circumstance. You can use anything you like, really. So that would then mean that 2 sine u equals 0. And obviously, as long as sine u is equal to 0, the whole thing will be 0. So the 2 sort of gets taken out of the equation. And so we get sine u equals 0. So sine to the negative 1 of 0 equals u. And you'll see there then, if you go to the graph here, this is when sine of what is when it's 0. Well, it's 0 here, so the sine function is 0 at 0. It's 0 at pi, and it's 0 at 2 pi. Now, looking at our graph here, we can see that the most relevant one for us is probably going to be pi, which is going to be in here somewhere. Just looking at the way the graph is going. So pi is the one that I'm going to investigate and use pi. So 3x plus 1 equals pi. So I'll take 1 off both sides. 3x equals pi minus 1. I'll divide by 3, and I get x equals pi minus 1 over a third. Pi minus 1 over a third. And so I'm going to just work that through on my calculator. So let's go shift pi minus 1 equals divided by 3 equals. And that gives me the answer 0.71386422179, or whatever there. So that's what x will be. So that's the first ordinate of the coordinates, and that goes there. So b will be that value there will be 0.713, and that's equal to 0, and that all looks pretty good. Okay, so that's that all done and dusted. Now let's have a look. We want to go for c. Now we know that the amplitude of the graph is this value here in 2. I've got my trusty formula sheet here just to remind you that you should have it with you at all times, because it's got such a value of it, well, all maths times anyway. Other times it may come in handy, but particularly during maths. And it tells us here that if we have a equation in this form, that A is the amplitude, so A sine bx plus c, and so on and so on. So that tells us that that value there is the amplitude in that sort of situation. So back to the math quiz, we know that the amplitude here for the sine graph will be 2. Will be negative 2, because it's negative 2 down here. So the graph will range between 2 and negative 2. But C, the amplitude there, it'll be negative 2 is what the value of c will be. So we can take the equation of the graph y, because y equals -2, and then that will tell it, we can use that to find out where x is. So we've got -2. So the first thing we do is divide through by 2, and we get -1 equals sine 3x plus 1. Now once again I use this mechanism where I let u equal what's in the brackets there. So now I get -1 equals sine u, and then I can come over here to my sine graph and I can say, well, I can go u equals sine to the -1, -1, like so, but I can see over here on my sine graph that it's going to be 3 pi over 2. I can try with my calculator. I could go sine to the -1, so I could go shift sine to the -1, -1, close the brackets, equals, and I get -1/2 pi. -1/2 pi, which is, that's the one back out here, -1/2 pi. So that's back down through here, that's that one. So, but then there's one every 2 pi after that. So that would give us, as we got here, 3 pi by 2. So u equals 3 pi by 2. And so we worked that out. So now we can say, well, u is equal to 3x plus 1. So 3x plus 1 equals 3 pi by 2. And now we've got to manipulate and rearrange that. So multiplied both sides by 2. And we get 6x plus 2 equals 3 pi. Because I get rid of the fraction. That's the first thing I ever do. Get rid of that fraction. Alright, so now we've got 6x plus 2 equals 3, and we can see, because we're smart and clever people, that if we use a denominator of 6, a lot of these things are going to sort of fade away. So we divide both sides, we subtract 2 from both sides, just to get the x, try to get x's on one side, and we get 6x equals 3 pi minus 2. Then we divide through by 6, because we know that if we divide 6x by 6, we'll get x on its own. And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. And so then we divide through by 6. So we get 3 pi upon 6 is pi upon 2, minus, and 2 divided by 6 is a third. So then we go to our calculator, and we just managed to sneak that in, and we work that out. So we go shift pi divided by 2 equals 1/2 pi. And then we go minus, or we can go a third. I just go 1 divided by 3 equals, and that gives me 1.237463, or 2993, which is what I've written down there. That little graph there is just for help. So it pays to remember where the sine, but if you can't remember, you can just do it on your calculator. 0 sine, all clear, sorry, sine 0 equals 0. Okay, sine of 90, or pi by 2 if you want it, sine, we're in radians, so shift pi divided by 2 equals 1. See, and then that'll be back to 0. So you can work it out pretty simply. Alright, so that's that one there, done and dusted. Right, now, most people did very well with this question, and most of you got it right. So, well done. Obviously, you've been listening in class, and it's been explained particularly well. Now, if we look here at this is the graph here, and this is our formula sheet, so it is written on the formula sheet. So remember that it's on the formula sheet. The answer's there, and here it is here. Periodic functions for y equals a sine brackets bx plus c. The amplitude is a, the period is 2 pi over b, the frequency is b over 2 pi, the phase angle is c, and the phase shift or phase time is c over b. Alright, so it's all there for you. There's some other things coming up. We're going to be doing calculus, and we're going to be doing differentiation and integration. And so these are very important here. These will be most helpful in the coming week. So they're on the formula sheet. So as I say, have the formula sheet with you at all times, either in a digital format or in a written format. Make sure you've got it there for you. It comes in very handy. All right. So if we write out our equation, or I've written out the standard equation here from the formula sheet, y equals a sine bx plus c, and I compare it with this equation here, I get y equals d. I get a is 15, b is 3, and c is 1, and x is equal to t in the thing. So now we want to work out the amplitude. Well, straight up, that's a no-brainer. That's 15. That's the amplitude. Done and dusted. The period is 2 pi over b. 2 pi, b is 3. 2 pi over 3. You can probably just write it as 2 pi over 3 if you want, or you can go to your calculator and go 2 times pi divided by 3 equals, and you get 2/3 pi. Is that right? I think it is. And you can push that button there, and you get 2.094395102. And that's pretty awesome. Now, frequency is pretty much just 1 over the period. So it's just the reverse of that, or that flipped up. So it's just 3 divided by 2 divided by pi equals, and it's 0.477464829 All good. Now the phase time, also known as the phase shift, is equal to c over b. In this case, c is 1, b is 3, 1 over 3. I'll even, as extra bonus for you, 1 divided by 3 equals 1/3. 0.333333333. Alright, so that's it. That's pretty much it. Money for jam, really. Just a matter of keeping your head straight, thinking your way through it, referring to your formula sheet, and there you go. You've got some really easy marks in a test or exam. So study that carefully. That's particularly the areas where you've gone wrong. And yes, we will go into the next week, and there'll be another quiz after this. So all well and good. Don't forget to have a look in Stu Ideal's workshop, where I've got a Excel spreadsheet that enables you to predict how you're doing, and for you to try and see what effect various study programs will have on your overall grade. I would recommend that you get as many marks as possible in the internal, so that gives you plenty of leeway in the external exams, so that if you go into the external exams with, say, an internal mark of 30 out of 50 or 60% or more, if you go into the external exam just needing the 40% to get over the threshold, that would be a very good outcome for a lot of you. So, have a look at the tool. It's in Stu's workshop right at the top, and that should do us. So cheers. See you.